topic of knowledge and the renunciation of actions. He begins the chapter with Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. We can chant the first two verses together. They come together. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha imam vivasvate yogam proktavanaham avyayam vivaswan manave praha manurikshva kave bravit evam parampara praptam imam rajashayo viduhu sakale neha mahata yogo nashtaf parantapa. So he says here, the knowledge that is given here is the elaboration of that jnanam I did in the second chapter. Karma yoga was done in the third chapter. That is the means to discover the truth, the ultimate reality. It is not the end itself. Karma yoga lifestyle is given as a means to discover sarva karma sannyasa, or the renunciation of all doership. When you see yourself as pure consciousness, limitless truth, where is the question of doership? Doership, the sense of doership, that I am doing this, I need the result, belongs to only that egoic self, the ahankara. So here we find Bhagavan is moving away from pravritti marga, which means more external, extroverted type of lifestyle, to jnana yoga, to more introverted nivritti marga. What is this nivritti marga? The more internalized lifestyle as well. So how is this knowledge handed over? We saw that as well, a very important topic. He brings this up in these two verses. Vamsha katanena stauti, Adi Shankara says in his commentary for this verse. Vamsha katanena stauti, which means Bhagavan praises this sampradaya. He acknowledges the source and the lineage for this knowledge. Sampradaya, very beautiful word. Samyak diyate iti sampradaya. That which is given over, handed over totally, in total measure, that which is handed over, this knowledge, and that forms the sampradaya, the lineage. And none can claim ownership. It comes straight from Bhagavan. Tulsidas, Saint Tulsidas, he also claimed the Rama. He's the one who wrote the Ramayana, Ramayana, his version of the Ramayana, but he claimed that it was directly given by Lord Rama. He never claimed authorship of it. Everything for him was Bhagavan as well. So in the same way, nobody in the lineage can claim authorship over this knowledge. It is straight from the Lord's mouth. He says, Evam parampara praptam. This Veda has been handed over in an unbroken oral tradition for thousands and thousands of years. Evam parampara praptam. So the knowledge of the Veda is nothing but the knowledge of the Gita. The Gita contains the essence of the Vedic scriptures. As we saw in the Dhyana Shloka, we chant that every time. Sarvo Panishado Gavo Dogda Gopala Nandanaha. It is Lord Krishna that milks the essence of the Veda, and he feeds the milk to Arjuna, his calf. So the essence of the Veda is contained in the Bhagavad Gita, and it has been handed over without distortion. We saw this. How is it done? There is a certain methodology. There is a consistency to the methodology, how the words are unfolded, how this is taught. And several methods are actually highlighted in the Shastra, used to communicate, because communication is the key. It is a communicable tradition. It is a communicated knowledge. And the knowledge takes place in the listener's mind, and the listener slowly sees what the texts are trying to say, and translates into their life experience as well, and becomes their reality for them. That is the idea of it. So the methods and the knowledge are handed over, and this is called sampradaya. When the method and the knowledge is handed over, this is tradition. Samyak prakarshena diyate anena iti sampradaya. Constantly and consistently handed over until the listener knows for themselves. So that it is always handed over consistently and constantly until knowledge takes place. The teacher never gets bored saying, no, it's not working. It's not happening for this person. Let me give up. Let me stop talking. No, the teacher keeps talking until the knowledge takes place. That is how the methodology is also given there. We can see in Chandogya Upanishad, this is highlighted by Shvetaketu's question to his father, or Uddalaka, his father's name is Uddalaka, and his answer to his son. Son asks the father for knowledge, and Tat Tvamasi, he says these verses, and the Tat Tvamasi at the end of every verse. Did Shvetaketu get it the first time? No. He went away. He went to meditate on what his father said. He comes back to his father and said, I didn't get it. Tell me again. Tat Tvamasi. So he goes off again. He meditates again. He contemplates on the verse, comes back. Did you get it? No. Tat Tvamasi. So again, that is the patience his father had. Of course, his own son, he will have extra patience with. 9 times in Chandogya Upanishad, that Tat Tvamasi is repeated again and again. Finally, the son gets it, and he understands and assimilates that knowledge. So this is a communicable tradition, but the communication takes time. Why? Because mental preparation. That is the most important thing. Whole of life is for what? It is not difficult to understand this knowledge. You are that. You are pure, limitless consciousness. That everything that you seek to be is what you are already. We have heard this again and again. Upanishad truth also is that. Bhagavan has said it in the 2nd chapter. You are that Atma, that limitless truth. But why can we not see it? That is a question that comes up again and again. However many times, however many years we hear, why can we not see it? That is why Arjuna's problem also was. He could not see it. And he tells Krishna very openly, I cannot, I'm sorry, I don't really understand this. But that is why Bhagavan prescribes a way of life, karma yoga lifestyle, and we'll see in the next few chapters as well, very beautiful lifestyle Bhagavad Gita gives for you to discover the ultimate truth that is revealed in the 2nd chapter as well. So the first shloka of the 4th chapter, Bhagavan gives an introduction to the parampara, the lineage of handing over. The teaching of the Bhagavad Gita also has been handed over. It has come down generation after generation, handed over. And Bhagavan says it is imperishable. This teaching cannot leave. It has always existed. It cannot be destroyed because it talks about the Satyam, the one truth of this universe. We cannot have 50 million truths. It's one truth of this universe, Satyam, that which exists in the past, it exists in the present, it will continue to exist in the future. And this is a fact. This Satyam is a fact to be conveyed through words. That is where Shastra comes in, the texts come in, to unravel the facts of this universe to make the listener see what the Shastra is trying to say. What Shastra does, how does it work? It actually scrapes off your ignorance. It doesn't reveal anything new. It is scraping off ignorance. Knowledge already exists in you. You are in the form of knowledge. Nothing new is ever created. It is a discovery. So self-discovery, self-enlightenment is already revealing what you already are. That is the beauty of it. When you say, I want to be free, I want to be liberated, the Shastra comes and tells you, hey, you are already liberated. You are already free. You just cannot see it. It is a question of ignorance. We need to scrape off that ignorance, scrape it off slowly, slowly, and you can see for yourself your true reality. And the means of knowledge to remove ignorance is what? Our scriptures become a means of knowledge. We trust our eyes as means of knowledge to see form and color, don't we? When I open my eyes, I don't doubt. Generally, when I see a tree, I know I don't keep asking. I don't stand in front of the tree and say, is that really a tree? Is it a tree? Could it be a dog? Could it be this? No. Vastu Tantram, the means of knowledge, is as good as the object. So when I open my eyes, I trust my eyes to see. Do I make effort for the eyes to see? Do I open my eyes and say, see, look at that? No, there's no effort made. In the same way, the scriptures become a means of knowledge. You don't have to force anything. It happens over a length of time. Constant exposure to the words of Vedanta definitely will give the knowledge. That is 100%. It is guaranteed. Rishis have written a guarantee there. It will always give. And if you don't make it in this life, Bhagavan also gives a guarantee there. If you think, oh, I've got 1 foot in the world, 1 foot in spiritual life, I'm not going to make it in this lifetime. Arjuna also has that doubt. He says, I'm not going to do it in this lifetime. What does Bhagavan say? Hey, don't worry, cool, relax. Don't worry, next Janma, I will give you a very good birth. You will just pick up the thread. Don't worry about it. I will make sure you will be born in a rich family, cultured family, and they will be given to Shastra studies. So I'll give you such a birth. Or I will make sure you're born into a Daridra Brahma, poor family, poor Brahmin family who study the Shastras. He gives two options. Either you'll have this type of birth, that type of birth. In fact, Adi Shankara says in his commentary for that verse in the 6th chapter, Ubaya Brashta verse, he says, Suchinam Srimatam Gehe Yogo Brashto Bijayate. He says, it's better to be born in the poor Daridra Brahmana family, who will survive on curd rice and some, pickle, that's it. And who have a roof over their heads. They have money, but just enough to survive, but they're given to the Shastric studies because rich wealth actually sometimes can drag you away from the spiritual goal. When too much wealth is there, it's very difficult because you have too many options open for you in the world. So it is not so easy when you have that type of birth, but it is possible. There are many Kshatriyas, like Arjuna's also, he was a prince. There are many people who have great wealth, but they see Buddha, Lord Buddha is a great example of that. He renounced the whole kingdom to take up to spiritual life. So there are examples like that. So anyway, Bhagavan says, don't worry, you are definitely going to make it. It doesn't matter. I promise. Either way, if you don't get it in this life, I'll make sure you pick up the thread in the next Janma. If you don't pick up the thread in the next Janma, don't worry about it. You've got another Janma. I will keep making sure until you pick up the thread again and again until you get it. And you will always be sent a teacher. You will always get a teaching because it is forever. That is the beauty of this knowledge. It is never gone. It is always there. So Sri Bhagavan Uvacha means the Lord spoke. What did he say? Imam avyayam yogam. This yoga that I've explained to you, this jnanam that I brought up, and also the karma yoga that was discussed in chapter 3, this teaching, he says, avyayam, it never goes out of date. There's no best before, we saw that, no expiry date for this knowledge. Avyayam is discussing this moksha. Moksha never changes. It is the same. Liberation in 1500 BC is the same as liberation now. It doesn't matter what era we're in. Liberation is exactly the same. So it is sanatana. It is relevant for all times. He says, avyaya, it never becomes obsolete. It is the same for everyone in all cultures at all times and all places. And who receives this knowledge? He says, Raja Rishayoho. These aren't just kings, they were also rishis. They valued, people who valued the knowledge. They were prepared for this knowledge. Vivaswan, of course, he begins the verse with Vivaswan is the first person he taught. Of course, Vivaswan, other kings. And we saw this, there are two Vamshas generally, when Vivaswan is also from the Kshatriya, the Kshatriya Vamsa. So amongst the Kshatriyas, there are two Vamshas or two lineages. Surya, which is a solar dynasty, and lunar dynasty, Chandra Vamsha. So all Kshatriya kings were put in these two dynasties. Vivaswan is the head of the dynasty. Some people say it is the deity of the sun. We don't know. It could be the deity. Adi Shankara actually says it is the sun deity. When creation was, when creation manifested, the sun deity itself, the Lord of the sun, is named Vivaswan, Aditya, Surya. We have different names for Lord Sun. He was the one who was taught. So, aham vivasvate proktavan, aham vivasvate proktavan. These, these dynasties we saw the Kshatriyas belong to these dynasties. Lord Krishna and Arjuna belong to the Chandra Vamsha. Rama is from the Surya Vamsha. So, all of these Vamshas had access to this knowledge. Bhagavan revealed the same knowledge a long time ago to this Vivaswan. Vivaswan is a very beautiful name in Sanskrit as well. If you remember, it comes from the root Vas. Vas means the one who resides very well, the one who illumines everyone, the one that illumines this whole Jagat is Vivaswan. So he became Bhagavan's first student. He became the student of this yoga, karma yoga and jnana yoga, when? At the beginning of creation. And Paripalaka, he was a Paripalaka, which means the provider of protection and order in his kingdoms. So he is the one why was this knowledge given to him? Because these are the rulers of kingdoms. These knowledge given to those people who govern the kingdom, because it helps them to rule themselves. That is the main thing. Atma balam. This knowledge, what is the main reason for this knowledge? It helps you to become master of your own self, master of your own mind. So when it is given to a person who is a ruler himself, if he is a master of himself, he can affect all the people under him as well. That was the main idea. This knowledge brings inner strength, self-strength, and they will have a value to protect the Vedas and also values. When you understand Bhagavad Gita, value becomes very clear for you. What is the purpose of living a life of value? It becomes very clear. So what happened after Vivaswan got it? He said, Vivaswan manave praha. He taught it to his son. Vaivasvata manvantara. This refers to Manu, the lawgiver. And how did he teach it to his son? So when you pass it down to your children, you always give them the best. Praha, that is why that verb praha is used. He gives everything, nothing left out, full knowledge he communicated. And there was no erroneous communication to his son, no danger in the communication that he got. So he taught him until there was no confusion left. We saw that nothing held back. And this Manu, in turn, Manu Ikshvakave Bravi. So this Manu taught this to Ikshvaku, another name of a king in the Surya dynasty. So he's just explaining how the lineage began. So in our tradition, we say that the spiritual teaching, as I said, comes down in two lineages, generally the Kshatriya Parampara, which is the solar and the lunar dynasty, and that is a division within the Kshatriya Parampara. Then we also have the Brahmana Parampara. And why is it given to these two particular types of people? Because if you look, every society is really taken care of by these two types of people. People are protected in society because of Kshatriya type thinking, the Kshatriyas and the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas are what? Again, we're not talking about birth Brahmins. We're not talking about birth Kshatriyas. Brahmanas in society are the teachers of society. They're the advisors of society. They are like in India, the IAS officers that run the government, the ones who study, the ones who are very highly educated and also given to values. They protect the values, ethical people. These are called Brahmanas. They're the advisors of the administrative classes of every society. And the other people that he gives the knowledge is given to is the Kshatriyas. Who are the Kshatriyas? Kshatriyas, we include the judiciary. We include judiciary of society in Kshatriya. We include police force. We include law and order. We include government. Anything that makes the whole country run or any society run, it's Kshatriya. And the Brahmanas are the advisors to the Kshatriyas. These are the two. If you see how beautifully Bhagavan has chosen these two, because he knows if I give this knowledge to these two sets of people, what happens? The whole knowledge streams down to the rest of humanity. These two are the ones that are responsible for the rest of humanity. People look up to them in societies, any society. So that is why these two particular paramparas are chosen by Bhagavan. So they take care of the ruling of the kingdom, and in turn, they be like role models for the rest of society. If they get this knowledge, what will happen to them? They will play their roles perfectly. Whatever roles they have to play in life given to them by Bhagavan, they will play perfectly. And whole societies will be protected. So this is why Bhagavan gives this knowledge to these two people.